Welcome to December's Tap and Transform. Today's theme is to do with Christmas stress. Um, because it comes in so many different forms, I'm going to invite you to tune into where you notice that within your body, so that no matter what the stress is that we mention as we're tapping, you're tuning into where it is and what it looks like. Okay, so welcome and let's begin. I want you to take a deep breath for me because I always like to start these sessions with some grounding and connecting so that we are supported by the energies of above and below before we actually get started with the tapping. And that way we get extra support to clear what is weighing us down, cluttering our energy, or making us feel less than in some way. So when you're ready, let's take a breath. Coming in through the nose. Fill up that belly space as you breathe in, and then relax the belly and the breath out and down. And again, breathing in and releasing the breath. With your next breath, do a little shake off, just shift your energy a little, breathing in and relaxing the breath down. Beautiful. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is put your awareness down to the base of your spine, which also we can call the root chakra. And as you bring the awareness to that space, just imagining yourself there, or even sensing the energy presence of the base of the spine. I want you now to visualize, to imagine sending down a cord of light from the base of your spine down through the layers of the house or the building that you're in, and all the way down to the very center of Mother Earth, and connecting at the very center of Mother Earth as if your grounding cord is an umbilical cord and you are connecting into the placenta, into the womb. So that's how you're going to imagine it splaying out, giving you a really beautiful, wide grounding experience. Wonderful. And now bring your awareness traveling all the way back up that grounding cord, all the way up to the base of the spine again. And here I'd like you to invite your grounding cord to widen, so it's at least as wide as your physical body. The reason I like to do this is when we release energy down and out, we have a much faster flow, so the energy clears much faster. And also, because of it's like an inner chute that you send things down, the outer chute is where we receive nourishment back in from Mother Earth. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's widen the grounding cord, just intending it, even if you can't see it yourself. Just know that the awareness and the intention is all you need. And as it widens to be at least as wide as your physical body, just allow yourself to settle more deeply into the chair that you're sitting in. Wonderful. Okay. And with your next few out breaths, I'd like you to really settle down into your root, into your pelvis. Feel your feet on the floor. Perhaps move your feet out so that they are in front of your knees. And that way your thighs and your hips can rest more deeply down. So have a go at doing that just with your next few out breaths. And if you catch this on the replay, I'd like you to make sure that you have pen and paper ready because you're going to need to put some notes down. But those of you that are watching live will already have been told to do that. I just didn't mention that before at the beginning. So now we're going to travel the awareness up through that central column, all the way up to the crown of the head. And reaching the crown of the head, we now invite the crown chakra to open wide, just like a funnel. And as we invite it to do that, just by bringing our awareness and our intention to that space, let's now invite the divinity that is outside of us to connect with the divinity that we are. And let's invite all of that energy to flow down through the brain, down through the head, past all the organs like the eyes and the brain and the endocrine glands, just nourishing everything as it goes, bringing in this goodness as it travels down through the body, so down through the head, down through the throat, spreading across the shoulders like a great big tidal wave, bringing lots of energy through, down across the shoulders, down into the arms and into the hands. And then again, bringing your awareness back up to the shoulders and the chest, watching that wave move down through your physical body and your energetic body, meeting your feet all the way down to your toes. Beautiful. Now you are connected above and connected below. I should say that it is not necessary to do this when we do tapping, but it is my preferred way of doing this, just to support you more and support me while we're doing this. So let's have a look at the exam stress. Now, not exam stress, Christmas stress. So we know that at Christmas time, there can be a lot of joy, there can be a lot of connection, there can be a lot of socializing, but there can also be the pressure that goes with all of that. Perhaps it's a social pressure, perhaps it's a financial pressure, perhaps it's just having such a big, busy calendar that you perhaps feel overwhelmed by it all. So whatever the pressure is for you, whatever the stresses are for you, I'd like you to take a moment and jot those down. So we're just going to have a couple of moments in silence. Jot down the types of pressures that are coming up for you, the types of stresses that are coming up for you right now. And then we will come back to that in a moment. Okay. So now that you've got an idea of what your stresses are, I'd like you to pick the one that has the highest charge. So as you read them out to yourself, I'll give you a moment to do that. And perhaps you noticed as you were writing them down where you felt the charge coming up, like the energetic kind of energy that comes in. And we're going to work with the one with the highest charge, knowing that you can come back to the recording and you can watch it as many times as you need to cover the others, to work through them individually. Going with what comes up for you is the most important part. So let's take a moment now. Just check through your list. What are your biggest stresses? And I want you to mark them, score them out of 10, 10 being the biggest stress for you and it feeling like a big stress for you, and 0 being no stress at all. So just go ahead and do that now and jot that down. Okay. So I'm noticing at the moment for me, the biggest pressure is actually I've got a lot to do and I feel like I haven't got enough time to do it. But interestingly, this afternoon, I've broken the back of something that was taking up a lot of my time. So it's gone down from like a 9, 10 to about a 6. Still got a lot to do, but that pressure's still there. What is it for you? Just be really clear. What is the thing that's causing you the stress, and how strong is that out of 10? 10 being high, 0 being low. That's the information you're looking for. Right. The next piece I want you to do, I just want you to tap. I find it easier to do this on the side of my head. But you can just do it on the karate chop point where we do our setup statement. So whichever place is best for you, I want you to just start to slow the breath down a little bit and just tune into where you notice that stress, that pressure, that tension, whatever it is for you. Where are you noticing it in or around your body? And jot that down. Now you've got where it is in your body, just guessing. There's no way that you need to make this exactly perfect. And remember, as you're tapping, what's working for you and what's right for you is going to reveal itself, okay? And it also might tweak itself over time. But even if I use the words that I do, because and say you join in and you don't really have a clue as to where it is for you, once you start to tap on it, you'll start to feel it more clearly. But always go with, if we said just guessing, and then see what comes up with the just guessing, okay? And don't, what I would encourage you to do is to trust what comes up. The subconscious mind is feeding you all of this information. And if you trust it, it will lead you further and further and further along the path. So your first question is, your first question is, what is the stress? Second question is, how strong is that out of 10? Third question is, where do you notice that in or around your body? Guessing. And then your fourth question is, how big is it? Just guessing. How big is it? And you can relate it to, we often use fruit just because there's lots of different sizes, or ping pong balls, basketballs, stuff like that. So just gauging, what size is this tension, this pressure, this thing that it is, this stress that's coming up for you right now. Okay. So you've got some sort of descriptor for the size. Now I'd like you, again, just tapping here or on the karate chop point, just start to guess at, to tune in. If, excuse me, if it was made of something, what would it be made of? Just guessing. So in case you're a bit stuck, you might notice that it's like a cloud, that it's like gas, that it's like slime or goo, that it's like wood or brick or metal. Um, it could be rubbery. It could be anything. So don't be scared to take what comes forward as being truthful for you. And it might seem completely weird and very random, and you don't really understand where it comes from. That's okay. Just trust that piece of information. So for instance, I've got something that's like my breath being caught at the top of my chest, my high chest, size of a melon, and it looks sort of like a thick bubbling goo. Brown goo, color. What color is it? And jot that down as well. Just guessing. Okay, so now you've got that information. I'd just like you to tune in and again, just guessing, is there an emotion in that energy that you can feel? So just take a moment to guess what that might be. Remember that you can tweak it as we go through if you need to. So just gauge this piece of information. And remember, if you catch this on the replay, you can pause it for as long as you need to, okay? Take your time, but also don't get stuck if you can't find the information, that's okay. And for some of you, colours won't even be a thing. There'll possibly be a sense of light or dark, and that's as far as you can get, and that's okay. Kinesthetic people tend to have a sense of something rather than a visual interpretation. So trust what comes up for you. You may find also that there is a sound attached to this, or there could be a scent, there could be a taste. What is it that's coming up for you? And write that down. So I'm going to give you another few moments to do that. Okay. So we've got these pieces of information, and that's what we're going to use to tab. And it is good to get as clear as you can at this stage. But like I said, it's not a deal breaker if you can't source that information. As we start to tune in and tap, more information will come. Just trust that. Don't disregard anything, okay? Just allow anything, everything that the subconscious pushes through to you to perhaps be useful to tap upon. Okay, so obviously with this tapping, we are reduced to a light kind of, how am I going to try and describe it? We're not going to be going terribly, terribly deep. Um, that's my aim, is we're not going to go terribly, terribly deep because we are looking at just sort of seasonal Christmas stress. We're not really looking to go to childhood trauma type things. We are just looking to taking off the top layer. So just be aware if anything terribly big or traumatic comes up, I want you to pause and keep tapping until the emotion subsides. Okay, this is you taking care of you. Tapping is an excellent tool for reducing anxiety and the stress response. That is the point of it. And by tapping on yourself, and I'll remind you these points, although I do have how to tap video and why to tap video. But what we're doing here is we're calming down the fight, flight, freeze response. And by doing that, we switch that stress response off and we allow the thinking brain to come back online. And the thinking brain allows us to be connected to something more than the primal part. It allows us to be resourceful, creative, inspired. It will help us to connect outside of ourselves, and it will help us to feel empowered, which of course, when we're in survival response, we don't tend to. We're acting on instinct. It's a preservation thing. It's not about empowerment, and it's not about making thoughtful, considered decisions. None of that even comes into it. It's very, very instinctive. And that's why when we're stressed, we kind of act without even really thinking about it. And what we're going to do here is help bring that down so that you can actually be more in the moment, more present, and that way life feels much easier for you as well. All right, my loves. So we're tapping on the karate chop point. Now I'm going to give you a quick overview what my words are so that you can change your words. Where I've got mine, you change yours, or rather, where I've got mine, you change what you say and you say your words. That's the most important thing. Gary Craig, who created EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, was always saying, for results that are terrific, be specific. So you could tap on mine and you would get some reduction in tension because you're tapping. But if you want it to be really effective for you, you've got to use your phrases, okay? As limited as they might be, use those. Okay, so we start at the karate chop point, fleshy part underneath the small of the hand, the small finger of the hand. Doesn't matter which hand. So again, I just want you to repeat now what I say. So even though when I think about, and I want you to put here, what is the stress that's coming up for you in that gap? Mine is there's lots to do and I don't think I've got enough time to do it all. Okay, or not enough time to do it all properly. So that's my stress. And I'm noticing it as like a breath that's caught up here in my higher chest. It's about the size of a melon, and it gravitates between being an like a misty cloud and a thick bubbling bowl of goo, really. And that's brown. And the emotion in there was suffocating panic. And it was quite descriptive that it was suffocating panic. Okay. So I'm just going to trust what's there, even though that feels like quite an extreme reaction to what's going on. Just trust what's coming up. But they're my words. Change them to suit you as we go through. Okay. So even though when I think about this current stress, I feel, and put in here what you feel. So mine would be like my breath is caught. And I just acknowledge this is how I feel right now. Whilst I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Good. Now we're going to do that 2 more times and we're going to move between the pieces of information that we've been given, okay? What the subconscious has brought up. So even though when I think about the amount I have to do and whether I've got enough time to get it done, what's your stress? When I think about that, I notice that I feel like my breath is caught in my higher chest. And it feels like a suffocating panic. I'm just acknowledging that's what goes on for me right now. And I am choosing to completely love and accept myself with it all. And one more time, even though when I think about how much I have to do and I feel like there's not enough time, I feel this suffocating panic high in my chest. And it feels like a really wet, misty cloud. And it's a 6 out of 10. What's your number? I acknowledge this. And I completely love and accept myself with it. Okay, good. So we've done the setup statement. Now we're going to come up to the top of the head. And we're just going to tap through each of the points. I like to use both sides of my face just because it helps to clear the energy out faster by using both meridians, basically. So I'm going to use my phrases. I want you to use your phrases unless mine fit you. Okay, so there's just not, I feel like there's not enough time to get everything done. I feel coming down to the inside of the eye, I feel this suffocating panic in my higher chest. outside eye. It's like a wet, misty cloud that I cannot breathe through. Under the eye. There's so much to do and I want to do it properly. Under the nose. I feel this in my higher chest. Excuse me, yawning's good. I should say that too. Yawning and crying, just let it out. I haven't really mentioned this. I don't know if you can see where the bones are. You got the clavicle points here, come down out to the side. You've got some dips there. So just tap on those dips. It's a 6 out of 10. Under the arm. I just don't think I've got enough time to get it all done properly or at all. Onto the inside of the wrist. I've got lots of things that take time. And coming onto the thumb and the fingers, and there's just not enough time to get it done. Next finger. And now I'm feeling the stress and the pressure of that. Next finger. I don't have enough time to get all of it done the way I'd want to. I'm just acknowledging how it actually makes me feel. Little finger. So I'm right here, right now, I'm realizing that maybe there's too much to get done in the time that I've got. Up to the crown of the head. And maybe it's okay to acknowledge that not all of it is within my control. Inside eye. And just noticing this suffocating panic. There's so, outside eye, there's so much to do and I don't think I've got enough time. Under the eyes, it's just too much. Coming down to the nose. Maybe I'm expecting too much of myself here. And to the chin. And what I'd really like you to do, if yours is particularly a time-related thing, feeling the pressure of the time, is start to list all the things that you normally have to do, and then start to list all the things that you have decided you want to add into that, or even have to add into that, just so that you can acknowledge what's true for you. This isn't to bring the overwhelm in more, or whatever the feelings are for you. It's not to bring it in more. It's just to acknowledge what's already in your energy, what's already like resting on your shoulders, and that we kind of try and almost bat away like it's manageable, it's okay, I do it all the time, I'm sure I could do it, even though everything on the inside is saying it's just too much for me right now. So go ahead now and spend the next few points just tapping through all the stuff that you've got to get done. Okay, I'm going to do mine on silent so I don't disrupt you, or distract you, I should say. And then we'll meet back as we come on to the wrist point. Okay. Okay, so as you start to tap through, I kind of came back on myself and just kept repeating those places. I'm just acknowledging how much there is for me to take into consideration. And as I come onto the thumb, I am just acknowledging that maybe it's not all doable. And so as I recognize that maybe it's not all doable, is there something? I'm just going to invite you to now start to allow the possibility of there being a different way. Maybe it doesn't all have to be done by you. Maybe you don't have to do it. Maybe it's all right to let it go for a year. Whatever that might be, just start to tap through, acknowledging that some things are beyond you right now. And that's okay. Just acknowledging how it all makes you feel. And as we come up to the top ahead, really focus on that. So mine is this suffocating panic that's like a wet, misty cloud in my higher chest. Suffocating panic. Wet, misty cloud inside my chest. Suffocating panic. Like a wet, misty cloud in my chest. Yeah. What I'm starting to notice, and I don't know if you or whether you're still caught up in the energy of it, but I'm noticing that there's a part of me that's willing to let go of some of this and to almost say, it's not possible this year, it's okay. And try it next year. Or if it gets late, it's fine. But maybe I'm just going to let myself off the hook with this. Maybe that would be okay. So just tapping through. Are there alternatives here? Could I accept some help? Coming down to the clavicle, could I just let some of it go? And then I can put my energy into that which really is a priority. Maybe I could let go of that other stuff. Okay, coming onto the thumb and the fingers, just recognizing where you are. Just acknowledging just the tapping is helping you to feel more relaxed. And acknowledging perhaps that you're not superhuman. Or maybe you're noticing that actually you've got time for stuff and that you could do that, and that's okay. What I'm hoping you're starting to recognize is that the things that are a priority naturally rise up to the top, and the stuff that isn't tends to kind of have the idea that it's starting to fall away, and it wouldn't matter if it didn't get done. Just noticing these. And start to tune in again to that those descriptors. So, excuse me. So where I had that sense of my breath being caught and it being a wet, misty cloud in my higher chest, and it's a suffocating panic. What number are you? What descriptors are you now? Just jot that down. I'm going to give you a moment in peace just to tune into that. So now you've jotted some information down. I'm noticing that my cloud has loosened up and it actually seems drier and much more spacious on the inside of the cloud. And instead of it being a suffocating panic, it's now a worry, a concern. So that's quite a shift. And the number's down to a 3 out of 10. What's yours? Just noticing that. As always, if your number is still at a 5 or above, you need to do some more rounds on where you are and bring that down to about a 4, 3, 3, 4. And what we're aiming for ultimately is to get down to a very maximum 2 out of 10 for the strength of this feeling, okay? So if you are at a 5 and above, you've got to keep shifting and tapping because otherwise this is going to be calling your attention a lot of the time, and it might even end up sabotaging the way that you utilize your time or whatever the stress might be, because it's trying to tell you it's not right, it's not right, it's not right. And while you're not listening, or while you're not able to action those feelings, it's going to take over your nervous system. And as we tap, what we're aiming for is the nervous system to really settle down, to create space so your thinking brain can actually work out what actually needs to happen. And hopefully, for those of you that are coming down, you'll notice that your sensations will have shifted and changed, and possibly, very possibly, probably, you're already working out what you could let go of. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to say to you, if you, as I say, if you're above a 5, I want you to pause the video, go through it again, or even rewind this part if you need to. Go through it again, and then when you are below a 5 out of 10, preferably below a 4 out of 10, but that's okay, we're then going to move towards choose to statements, which is what we're going to do now. And again, these choose tos are around the lots to do, not enough time kind of theme, but in an opposite way. Okay. So if you have a different stress, you're going to invite your subconscious mind, your thinking brain actually, both together to be more resourceful, to come up with ways to get around what it is that's causing you stress, or maybe it'll just, the shift in perception will be sufficient for you. But what we're aiming to do here is choosing to relax, choosing to see just how much time we have. So if you were struggling with resources such as money, maybe just choosing to see what the money is that you do have and what you could do with that. And maybe it means only small ways of being. And then what you might need to work on is the expectation you have of yourself about what you should be able to do at Christmas time, and then work with that. That would be your stress, if that makes sense. If you have any problems at all, please do message and I will do my best to help guide you with that. Right. So let's go on to the choose twos. Okay. Karate chop point. So, even though you're repeating that, so even though I did think I had lots to do and I didn't have enough time, I'm now recognizing that actually I've got more choice in this than I thought I did. And with that, I'm choosing to love and accept myself completely. And even though it has felt really pressured, I'm now recognizing that most of that pressure was put on my shoulders by me. And I choose to love and accept myself even with that. And even though sorry, I'm going to tune into that again. Even though I had a restricted way of thinking before, I now choose to acknowledge that things are shifting and I'm gaining new perspectives. Okay, come up to the top of the head. I am starting to see new ways of looking at this. Inside the eye. So that's on the eyebrow there. I am now choosing to see this so very differently. Outside eye. I can see that there is much more available here than I thought there was. Under the eye. I am choosing to acknowledge all the goodness that is already with me. Under the nose. I'm choosing to acknowledge all the space and time I do actually have. Coming down to the chin, and I am choosing what actually serves me. Coming down to the clavicle, and I'm letting go of the phrase ridiculous expectations is coming up, but I don't really want to make them feel ridiculous. So I'm just going to say I'm letting go of unnecessary expectations. Under the arm. I am choosing just a bit more peace and space. Inside wrist. I am choosing more space, time, and peace. Coming to the thumb and fingers. I am choosing more space and time and peace. And the next finger. I'm choosing this for my own sanity. Next finger. I think I was expecting too much of myself. Next finger. And I can usually do it. Next finger. But it leaves me stressed and depleted. Coming up to the top of the head. So this time I am choosing peace and ease and space. Inside of the wrist, I am choosing peace and ease and space. Outside eye, I am choosing peace and ease and lightness. Under the eye, I am choosing ease and lightness. Under the nose, I'm choosing that for me. Coming down under the chin, to the chin. It's okay to let go of what I don't need to keep hold of. Coming down to the clavicle. I am letting myself relax with all of this. Under the arm. My brain might get busy with it again. Inside of the wrist. But right now, I am allowing myself this down time. Take a deep breath in. Relax it out. And then gently tune in to what your numbers are and how it's showing itself to you, that original stress. Is it still revealing itself to you and its descriptors in the way that it was before? It's giving you a few moments. Okay. So just noticing how that is for you and compared to how it was before. That's why it's really good to keep a written note so that you can see where you've progressed and also where you might still be stuck on things. Feel free to go through it again if you are needing to, but for those of you that are a 2 out of 10 to a 0 out of 10, your work's done for now. For those of you that are higher, then please, yes, spend some time on whether it feels that you need to release more of the tension or whether it's about embodying and feeling the expansiveness or the ease or the peacefulness that is available to you. So we're just going to do a little breathing moment, and I'd like you to close your eyes. And I'd like you to choose, no, I'm going to rephrase that. I'm going to invite your subconscious to reveal to you a color that means mental peace and emotional spaciousness. And there might be two colors for this, they might not be the same. What are they for you? Just guessing. Well, I noticed I have two colors. If you have two or more colors, when I suggest breathing in the color, you're going to breathe in both colors. Okay, just trust what came to you is exactly perfect for you. And we're just going to tap from the head down to the hands. We're going to breathe the color or colors in, hold for a moment, and then we're going to just let that breath go and imagine, visualize, sense that those colors are filtering down into the body, into the cells, and they're just allowing the physical and energetic aspects of you to be soothed in with the mental peace and the emotional spaciousness, because they're the two areas that cause a lot of stress and tension in the body. And if we can give them this calmness, then the body can start to go into the heal and the rest and digest phase. Okay. So when you're ready, breathe your color in as you tap on the top of your head. Hold for a moment and then breathe it out. Inside eye. Breathing those colors in and spreading them through the body on the out breath. Outside eye, breathing them in. And let's turn up the dial so they're 10 times the amount you've just breathed in, maybe 20, 30 times, 50 times. Breathe that in and then let it out, breathing down and out into the body. Good, that feels better. We're going to keep turning up the dial on it now. So breathing in as you tap under the eyes, breathing that color or those colors in, mental peace, emotional spaciousness. And as you get to the top of the breath, hold it and let's turn up the dial like 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Let it really build and billow. And then breathe that down and out into your energy. I'm starting to notice that my toes have got these colors in them. So that's obviously where it's going down to first. Coming under the nose, breathe that color, breathe those colors in. Hold at the top, turn up the dial 100, 1,000-fold, and then breathing down and out into the body, into the energy. Coming down to the chin, breathing them in. At the top, hold it. Let's turn up the dial so it really, really expands 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 times. And then breathe it down and into the body. Coming down to the clavicle, breathing that in. Turning it up. I've got some gold sparkles coming in. Would you like some gold sparkles? Does that feel good for you? And then relax it down. Under the arm, breathing those colors in. And breathing them down and out into the body and into the energy. Inside wrist, breathing them in. Get to the top of the breath, turn up the dial. So it's like 10,000 times every time you breathe in, you're turning it up 10,000 times now. And breathe that down and out into the body. The last 5 now, coming onto the thumb. Breathing that in. And breathing it down after you've turned the dial up. And then down and out into the body. And if you find that you've breathed in so much of it, I'm feeling quite depleted still, but just in case you're feeling like you've breathed in so much that there's nowhere else for it to go, we're going to ask your aura to expand out. So it's at least as wide as your arms can reach in all directions. That way, that energy's got so much more space, and you will be living, breathing, and walking and moving inside a bubble of this mental peace and this emotional spaciousness. How gorgeous is that? Okay. Coming onto the first finger, breathe those colors or that color in. Turn up the dial, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. And breathe it down and out. Coming onto the, I can't even give it a name, the middle finger. Breathing in. Turn up the dial at the top, like 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 times. Turn up the dial, let it billow and billow and build and build and build, and then breathe it out. Last 2, breathing in. Hold the breath at the top, turn up the dial, spin it round. So it's like super high 1,000,000 times with all of that peaceful mental peace and emotional spaciousness. So much of it, so much of that color. And then you're just going to let it breathe down and into your body and into your energy. Little finger, last time, breathing that in. Spin the dial, turning up as high as you need it to go so that you are full and your aura is full. Mine's like ramping right up. And then breathe that down into your energy. Okay. What I'd like you to do now, close your eyes if you haven't already got them closed. Place your arms crossed over each other so that you're holding the tops of your arms. And then slowly tap one arm, then the other, like you're kind of patting somebody. But you're patting yourself. And this just helps program this in. And give yourself a big hug. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then shake that out. Shake the shoulders, shake the arms out. If it feels good for you, stand up and move around. Just letting everything move. Okay. So now that you've done a little shake, maybe jumped up and down if that feels good for you, just check in with your numbers and just notice what's different from when you started. Okay. So just close your eyes just for a moment. I'm noticing that as I start to think, I haven't got enough time, there's a part of me going, "Meh," like it really doesn't matter. And my number is down to a 1 out of 10. What is it for you? I'd love to hear how you got on with that. And of course, if there are any other areas that you would like support with, let me know. This is really useful stuff for the membership, and it's really good to know what it is that you want to tap on. Okay. Okay, so until next time. And as we are now on the 17th of December, I'm just going to say I wish you a really beautiful festive season. And I hope it's everything that you need it to be. Um, and I will see you in 2025. My goodness me, it was ridiculous. Thank you. Take care.